power, whether red or blue. They could not care less about Texas, me and you. They created this give me country that don't value hard work. For a Texan to survive, all we need are some seeds and dirt. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. We believe in family and we value our community. Gladly lend a helping hand to a neighbor in need. And we don't believe that government should provide for all of society's needs. No, it's the pride of a Texan to give to others voluntarily. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. They like our tax dollars and they love our natural resources. They don't want to see us driving trucks, they'd rather see us riding horses. And now they want to ban our guns, you know, especially the ones that look scary. But may I remind you of the Gonzales cannon and the Alamo heroes we buried. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. This last verse is straight from the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 and 2. Look it up. Texas is an independent state, yet presently we suffer. We no longer possess the right to locally self-govern. And now it's time as a people in which all political power is inherent. And in such manner we find expedient, we reform or abolish our government. I said, Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone.
Well. Good evening, everyone. It's late night coffee talk, and I just realized that we had an old video loaded in the deck, one from the campaign, and that is my mistake. As you can tell, maybe you can, maybe you cannot. We're actually utilizing a whole new platform tonight. Of course, we're all broadcasting the same spot, but if you'll notice, things have been a lot smoother already tonight, and real happy about that. But anyway, hey, hope you got your cup of coffee. This is going to be it's going to be a fun one tonight. Got some new toys to play with. Yeah. Going to give away something. Going to talk about the elections. Going to talk about what happened over the Capitol yesterday. I mean, there's a lot. So without further ado, let's get down to it. For those of you who do not know what's going on here, I am Daniel Miller, president of the Texas Nationalist movement, and this is Late Night Coffee Talk. This is that time in the middle of the week where I take a break from doing work, grab a cup of coffee. Not like I don't have a cup of coffee in my hands all the time, but anyway, take a break and visit with you guys. Ask you some questions. You get to ask me some questions. I get to decompress, talk about things that are on my mind, and talk about things that are on your mind. And so you'll notice at the bottom of the screen right there, right now, if you have questions, be sure to email them over to coffeetalk@vtnm.org. That is coffeetalk@vtnm.org. Or if you're watching on either of the Facebook channels, go ahead and drop your question in the comments. And if you're watching on any of the Facebook pages, which apparently we're on them tonight, I think we are. Some news on that front, as a matter of fact. But anyway, if you are seeing this on any of the Facebook pages, you can drop your question or your comment there in the comments. And of course, across all these, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And for those of you on Twitter, hello. Elon Musk's new plaything. It's quite nice. I have to say, it is really nice for people to be able to see our tweets now. They said it. They said no one was being shadow banned before. I don't believe that was true. All right. So really quickly, we're going to be giving away something at the end of the broadcast tonight. I got this cool little prize pack. TEXIT Now sticker, couple of Texas Independence T&M koozies, and the coveted Texas Independence flag. I've got a whole little pack right here. Here's all you have to do, right? So tonight, if you're commenting on any of those platforms I mentioned, be sure to use the hashtag TEXIT, and we will hit the button on this system and randomly pick one of you to receive this cool prize pack. And be sure you are listening, because I'm not going to hunt you down to give you something. Just either watch it on the rebroadcast or whatever. But I'm excited to be giving away stuff. So be sure you comment. And even if you're posting a question, use the hashtag TEXIT. I think you only need to enter once, right? You only need to do it once. But yeah, let's do the thing. All right. That whole video thing just kind of threw me for a loop. I was not expecting that. You can only imagine my surprise and horror when I look at and saw my logo at the end of that video. That was not what I was expecting. All right, so let's kick off. Before I talk about the elections, let's kick off with something that transpired yesterday that generated quite a bit of buzz today. Yesterday, obviously, as you know, was election day, and there was a need for us to send a message to the dwellers of the Capitol that we are on our way. And so if right around, right before rush hour, I mean, who am I kidding? It's Austin, right? It's not like rush hour is actually an hour. It's longer than that. But right around rush hour, if you happen to be in downtown Austin or stuck on I-35 in that parking lot and you looked up over the Capitol, you would have noticed this. Oh, look, what does that say? What does it say? TEXIT is coming, right? So for about an hour, people there in the Capitol, around the Capitol, were treated to a shot across the bow from us to remind them that we are coming, that the people that want TEXIT are on our way. And oddly enough, we had no idea what the outcome of the elections was going to be, right? We had no clue, none. But we suspected, I mean, you always have suspicion. You never know, right? But you can have a pretty good idea. But either way, it really didn't matter. Why? Because we were coming regardless of what happened. Because we understand and know at a fundamental level, no matter what happens with those federal races and all of this other stuff that people talk about, that the people of Texas want TEXIT. We need to have a vote on it. There is no fixing Washington, D.C. So yeah, fun. And let me tell you, let me give a big thanks to our volunteers who were out there capturing the video and the photos. You can see them; they're posted around social media. There's an article about it on the Texian Partisan. So I mean, it's just really, really, really awesome. And it won't be the last time that we are sending messages. And to top that off, the Texit Now billboards are popping up all over, right? Radio ads starting to happen. Things are in the hopper. Plus, this Facebook thing, which, by the way, if you have not done the instructions over on the website at tnm.me/Facebook, you need to go do that. The time is running out. Tick tock, tick tock. It needs to be to us before the weekend. So go to tnm.me/Facebook. Do the instructions. You'll know what's happening. And yes, you need to get it done before the weekend. That's all I can say. I can't say anymore. But I think you can put two and two together and figure out what's getting ready to go down. All right. Let's do this. Let's go here. So I know so many of you. Oh, and for those of you just joining us, be sure to drop your questions in the chat. Um, you know, shoot them to me at coffeetalk@etnm.org. All right. So as many of you have probably heard the pundits talking about for I don't know how long there has been this prediction of a red wave, right? Because remember, the red wave was coming to save us all, right? There was going to be this massive red wave, and it was going to sweep across all of these other states. And suddenly, the U.S. Congress was going to be just so conservative and all. I mean, it's all this stuff, right? And who knows? Maybe the way this thing shakes down, maybe there are, maybe there's some slice of majority in the House, or maybe the Senate, or maybe both of Republicans. But let's not forget that there are people that still believe that Mitt Romney is a conservative. Okay, so just because somebody wears a specific team jersey doesn't mean much. But let's be honest. Well, let's just say this. We captured some footage yesterday of the arrival of the red wave. There it is. I know it's stunning. I know it's probably taking your breath away at how massive it is. That was not a red wave, folks. That was perhaps, in the best case scenario, a moderate amount of obstructionism against any additional Biden policies, perhaps some investigations, maybe on the federal side. But at the end of the day, all yesterday did was prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are states and people in those states that do not and will not ever think like us. And look, the poster child for this is the inimitable John Fetterman, the man who spent his entire campaign wearing a hoodie and some shorts, and let's not forget, until very recently, Well, that was fun. So where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about federal. So that being said, wow, new platforms. You gotta love it, right? Yikes. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm getting back on track here. Okay. So until very recently, John Fetterman was living in his parents' basement or living with his parents. I mean, who knows? I don't know if it was his basement, but it sort of would fit, wouldn't it? I mean, it would sort of fit. And so, what you have to remind yourself is that a whole bunch of these people, a whole bunch of people, millions and millions of people voted for this guy. Probably north of I don't know what the totals were, but you get it. And Fetterman is not an aberration, right? You have to remember Joe Biden got a bunch of votes, right? No matter how you think those votes came about, there are people who still voted for him, right? Just like none other than Beto O'Rourke, right? I mean, that was the news. That was the big news out of Texas is that Beto washed out. But wait a minute, yay! Let's pop a champagne cork on that one, right? The guy who said that he was going to basically reinforce the Biden border policy or the federal border policy and, take our ARs away till he said he wasn't, till he said he was, till he said he wasn't, till he said he was. Loves a campaign over the bodies of dead children. That guy, right? Same guy. But interestingly enough, while he got sent packing, what happened in Harris County, or as I'm sure we'll start calling it, East Maricopa? Well. Beyond the normal election irregularities, it looks like the vast majority of those Democrats there, right? And I don't say that in a pejorative sense, but the progressive policies that have led them to drive Houston into the stratosphere of crime rate, their homicide rates are crazy, right? Their lax policies that have made, frankly, Harris County the laughing stock of Texas and that county judge, Erlina Hidalgo. It looks like a bunch of those guys, even amidst all the corruption, are going to stick. They didn't get bounced out. They didn't get bumped. So, regardless of whatever sort of trickery is taking place, whatever kind of sleight of hand is going to take place on the federal level, the fact of the matter is that both sides are entrenched. And I say both sides like there are only two, but there are not just two sides to this. There's not. But what there is a very, very large divide between people who believe like we do and the people that ultimately run those other states and send more people to the federal system, right? To essentially force their policies down our throats. Texans didn't join the union. So Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi could set our border policy, or so that Pelosi could fly to Egypt along with John Kerry and tell us that we can't grill in our backyards or own pickup trucks, right? That's not what the deal was. But my friends, that's the deal we're getting. Because if that margin is razor thin on the congressional side, like they say it is, then there are some weak-willed over there in that alleged Republican caucus that will compromise, right? I mean, let's be honest about this. It's not like the Republican leadership has been known for the conservative stalwart stances. In fact, they'll fold like Superman on Laundry Day if they think it'll get them 10 more Twitter followers, right? I mean, that's just how some of these guys are. So, do you expect them to lead? Now, you have some examples, right? In Florida, DeSantis swept down there because he's living out what he says, right? He's not thinking about how he's going to compromise. He doesn't like it. He's like, look, these are my principles, and this is the hill I'm willing to die on. Now, am I saying that somehow Florida is better than Texas? Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is there is a model of leadership there that is absent in the federal side for any of these leaders. And of course, remember, the federal system is not conducive to this sort of thing. But look, folks, I've said this plenty of times. We are at a point of divergence. We're beyond the point of divergence. We're to the point now where the other side is so far removed from what we consider our baseline that we can't see them with a pair of binoculars. We don't have the ability or the heart or the spirit to even fathom or comprehend what they're doing, what is driving their behavior, what their motivations are. I mean, there's some spiritual lessons there, obviously, but we cannot even comprehend. And if you think about the last, say, 10 years, right? I mean, from my standpoint, since 1996, I mean, think about how many things, how much worse things have gotten since I crossed my line in the sand and got to work for this. You know, debt, culture war, economy, government federal government overreach, corruption, the border. I mean, name it. Across every measurable category that deals with people, that people like us think about, like, liberty, freedom, opportunity. It's bad. It's very bad. But my friends, the good news is that we have hope, right? There were people that before last night were sitting on the fence about the TEXIT issue. Now, I know, look, I mean, it's nice to wake up every day and know that, okay, we were at 66% support of likely voters. Well, now we're probably more than that. Or we probably have pulled some people from unlikely voters to likely voters, and they will vote for TEXIT. I mean, this is, it's nice to be able to do that. It's nice to be able to make that happen. Nice to be able to wake up every day and know that we are gaining ground. But we've got some significant obstacles. We got some significant obstacles in our path. And we've got some milestones that we've got to hit. And we've got a lot of work that we're going to have to get ready to do. It's time for those Texas First pledge signers that have sway in the legislature to be held to their word. To be held to their word. Last time I checked, a pledge is a pledge is a pledge. So we've got a lot. So make sure your guys are hearing from you, right? Your legislators. Now Now they're locked. Now Now there's no guessing. Now you don't have to hunt down 15 candidates. Just got to talk to one person that's your rep, one person that's your senator. So go get them. What are you waiting for? Go knock it out. All right. Let me do this really quickly because I want to share this with you guys. So speaking of the legislative session and how this plays in, our good friend Chad Prather was on Glenn Beck's special. He did kind of an election recap, breakdown, whatever it was. And got to give a hat tip to Chad because he was repping for the brand there on Glenn's show. So I'm going to share this with you really quickly.
A mess, to put it mildly.
Or we revisit House Bill 1359, which is the TEXIT bill here in Texas, and we start writing up articles of secession.
Amen,
and since
brother.
they've already ceded the Constitution from us, they've taken the Bill of Rights from us. How far do we go with this thing? I mean, at some point in time, is there a national divorce? Do we have that conversation? We're in a situation where we're not united anymore. I'm not united with California. I'm not united with New York. I'm not united with Northern Illinois. I'm not united with those two. We're not the United States anymore. Sad to say that. And again, I'm the one who wants the Constitution. I want the freedom. I want small government. I want liberty. I want we the people. I want inalienable rights. Those are being taken away from me. At what point in time do we have that conversation? As Texans specifically, we're a nation. We have it in the first two articles of our Constitution here in the state of Texas that says, look, we can evaluate this. And if we don't like what we're seeing, we can do some things about it. It's not a declaration of war. It's just saying, look, guys, we have certain principles. Obviously, we're split down the middle across the country. Those urban population centers. If you had that, and there's a lot of folks that want to go with us, That's guaranteed. If you had that happen, it will take literally 5 years before those areas that decided to take the progressive direction, that house of cards is going to fall. Or, on the flip side of everything I just said, we dig in our heels, we continue, and we wait until that house of cards falls. That spring breaks, the pendulum swings back the other way. But how long can we go and survive?
I don't think that.
Well, the answer to how long can we go is we cannot, right? The arrow has effectively left the bow. There is just like that letter that I quote in the TEXIT book from the Committee of Safety for the Municipality of Liberty, the letter that they wrote right after the Battle of Gonzales. They said that there is danger in delay, and there is a sense of urgency, right? I mean, the opposition has accelerated their plan to the point that they've given up all pretense of incrementalism. So there is a sense of urgency. So look, thank you to Chad for giving a name check to House Bill 1359, the Texas Independence Referendum Act, which, by the way, in the next thinking maybe it's next week that we're going to be releasing the final draft of the legislation, the draft legislation as we want it filed. And who knows, maybe we'll have some announcements to make, 2 or 3 weeks after that. We'll see. This is a process, but it is not a wait and see process, right? You should be doing all the things right now, contacting your reps, contacting your senators, asking for meetings, talking to them, explaining why it's important to them, helping them understand. I can tell you from some of the legislators that I have spoken with that even after being exposed to this issue, last legislative session and on the campaign trail, there is still a significant knowledge gap. And that is something you can do as a constituent. If you are informed, you can help inform them. I'm not saying go browbeat them, right? Some of these guys just don't know. They just don't know. So you could be that person to help them understand that. Once they know, then you can hold them accountable. But until they know, and I know it's difficult, right, to believe that they don't know, especially when 2 sessions back we sent them all copies of the TEXIT book, and I mean, there's a lot of things. But sometimes they just don't know. But sometimes you have to make sure you're the person that can go in there and help instruct them. But beyond that, we're here as a resource. We're here. We're here to back you up if you're having those conversations. We provide you with all of the resources and all the materials that you need. Speaking of, if you have not taken a stroll over there yet, I'm going to bring this up for you guys so you can see it. We are in the process of relaunching the T&M Academy, right? If you are a registered supporter and you go log into the website, you can head over there. Once you log in, there will be a menu item, a brand new menu item for you that says Academy at the top. That is the home of the T&M Academy, which is a whole group of courses that are accessible to you. There are a handful on there right now, mostly geared toward leadership. But if you volunteer in the T&M, you do have access immediately to the volunteering for TEXIT or volunteering for the WIN course, whichever it's called. Guys, it's been a long day. I do this in a break, okay? But anyway, you can check that out. So head over to tnm.me/academy, and you can check out the courses. We've got one, the entire legislative action workshop is there. We've got one, 2 courses that are getting ready to come online. One about the TEXIT campaign and one it's called TEXIT 101. It's actually a study companion to the TEXIT book with a lot of different questions. And I mean, that thing is just firing on all cylinders. I'm just so excited. So go over there and check that out if you get a chance. All right, let me get down to some questions. How about that? And I know I've been seeing some of the questions over here. It's really all good. Really all about mostly about the election, right? So here's John Lindsay. John says, probably your first order of business, but how will these election results affect the TEXIT movement? Look, it's really done well. I mean, the results have been essentially good for us in that it has shown a lot of people this separation, right? These people that were sort of holding out on to hope that it was fixable. Not that there were many of those people, right? I mean, let's just be honest about this. But I think for a lot of people, it really solidified their belief that the only way that we're going to win this, the only way we're ever going to preserve these things that are important to us, is for Texas to become a self-governing independent nation. So growth, I mean, that's really what's going to happen from here on out. Excuse me. Okay. Same question here, similar from Jim Van Zant. Jim says, what are the chances that TEXIT gets more popular quickly after this election? Look, it's not a matter, TEXIT is not a matter of popularity, right? I mean, the poll numbers show the issue itself has popularity. It's that people don't know what to do with it, right? So there is the role that atomization and mainstream media play in this, is to disconnect people who support it here, right? That support it here and here from the place where they can go support it with these, right? The place where they can go actually do something about it. And so, it's important for us to overcome that atomization, right? To overcome the mainstream media. And there are a couple of ways that we do that, right? Number one is volunteers, right? We ask every supporter to have the conversation, to spark that conversation, to go out, help us knock doors, to help us do events, to go to meetups, to be a part of this living and breathing movement, to go reach out to their fellow Texas voters. Because if you leave it up to the mainstream media to do it, it's not going to happen, right? They are content to just say nothing and let this die on the vine, because it is not in their best interest to pump oxygen on this fire. That said, the other part of that is what we have to do, right? Which is why you see things like the banners and the billboards and the radio ads and all of those things that cost an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, those things are not cheap. But if we work together and we all do our part, then we can connect the popularity, the support, to the organization and marry those two together. Soon, when people, it's not enough to support it, it has to be in an organized and disciplined fashion, moving forward, right? So if we work together to bring these people into the organization and then move them forward, then we win. And the more people we connect with, the quicker this gets done, right? So, if we're doing this 1,000 at a time every month, we're going to be 800. We're going to be in the 800-year category, like Scotland, if even, right? But if we're at contacting 1,000 or 10,000 supporters a day, TEXIT gets done like that, and then we all get to go to the house that happens to be situated in the geography of the self-governing independent nation of Texas. So how quickly do you want it? That really is the question. Okay. Windbreaker says, was last night's election good for Texas? Yes, across all fronts. I mean, we're seeing brand new supporters come in, tons of inquiries come in, tons of traffic. I mean, it's just, I mean, it was really good for us. And of course, the social media buzz surrounding TEXIT and national divorce is just driving people our direction, because essentially they're looking at it going, you know what, you guys were right. Oh yeah, hey, a reminder while we're doing this, when you are posting comments or posting your questions, be sure to use the hashtag TEXIT. That's going to enter you into this this drawing that we're going to do at the very tail end of the broadcast tonight, where I'm going to give you some free things. Free things. Free. I mean, I know that's probably not attractive to you guys, because you were not Bernie Sanders supporters. But free is free. Okay. All right. Moving right along. So Nathan, see here. Nathan wants to know, he says, legitimately asking, holy smoke, man, that's long. It's like I got to peek over this thing like Kilroy. Legitimately asking if when TEXIT, see, there we go, when TEXIT occurs, why wouldn't the federal government come in and treat it like sedition and send in the military to prevent it? I mean, they didn't let the South lead before. You know, it's funny. I got that question today. We get that question a lot, not as much as we used to, but I actually got it today on a radio interview that I did with a radio host in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I mean, you guys think you're having a bad day. Try being a conservative in Pittsburgh that just elected John Fetterman as a senator. Let that sink in for a minute. It was not a good day. Not a good day for him. But anyway, so that question is quite it's not uncommon, but I wouldn't call it common either, although it used to be common, right? And here's the thing: what is preventing them from doing it? Well, really nothing, right? Nothing is preventing them from doing it because they've proven that they will go to any lengths, subverting the Constitution, flaunting common sense, right? But frankly, we don't do what we do because of what they might do, right? So that being said, you do the right thing, and then they have to make a choice. They're either going to do the right thing or the wrong thing, okay? But that being said, we have to think about these things pragmatically. And from a strategic and process standpoint, it's important for us to implement strategies that reduce the risk or the ability for them to do that, right? To do those things, to charge us with sedition or send in the troops. Number one, this is not the 19th century, right? That's not how it's done. That's not the way that they do it. And if they did, it would make them functionally indistinguishable from North Korea and Syria, right? So not a good look for them on the global stage, but also domestically, right? So if they came at us and our only crime was voting for self-government, then Texas would be the first state to leave, but we wouldn't be the last because I'm pretty sure there are other states out there that would take exception to the fact that the federal government did not even recognize a legally constituted vote of the people, right? So that has a ton of implications. We talk about that on the website. If you go to texitnow.org, if you go back and watch some of my previous coffee talks, I deal with that thing ad nauseum. But our way of thinking is right. I know this because this question was effectively asked and answered in a very similar way at an event. A colonel from the United States Army stood up and validated everything I said and essentially added even more to it why it was implausible that would happen. And then finally, I have just recently become personally acquainted with a professor from the UK who I've actually quoted some of his stuff before, mostly on the stump, right, at events. But I am reading through his latest book, and this guy is, and let me tell you, this guy is probably the foremost authority on the issue of independence and referenda in the world. And I just, total fluke, just happened to strike up a conversation with him. And let me tell you, got his brand new book. It is phenomenal, especially if you're looking at it from not necessarily a purely academic standpoint, but the practical implementation of independence, the process to get there. And essentially what he said pretty much confirmed it, right? So I've got military, I got academics. I think we're going to be all right. Okay, so, but if you want more information on that, definitely head over to texitnow.org. There's plenty of information on that topic. Okay. Okay, this is from someone at Kingdom of Vinland. Okay. Will Texas have new parties after secession, or will the old ones remain? I think Texas should switch from a two-party system to a proportional representation system. Well, theoretically speaking, Texas does not have a two-party system. We can have multiples, right? I mean, we've got libertarians, we got Green Party, we got Constitution Party. So, but functionally speaking, it's a duopoly. Okay, so while you can have it, right? Not necessarily, but your question is actually an interesting one. And funny thing, the last time I really had this conversation with anyone was right after it was post Brexit, right after the Brexit party had a bunch of big wins in the European Parliament, and everyone started banging on us to start a political party. And I said, that tells me that you do not understand European politics or the European Union at all, and probably don't understand Texas politics at all, because the reason the Brexit party could have any kind of wins whatsoever is because European Parliament, unlike first past the post races in the UK Parliament or pretty much every race here, is, it's first past the post, right? It's 50% plus one and you're in. And sometimes not even that. Sometimes all you need is the plurality. Okay. Whereas European Union is proportional representation. So that being said, I don't know which one that I want. I vacillate on this on a personal level, but at the end of the day, that's ultimately going to be up to the people of Texas to decide, right? Do they want to continue the party structure and election structure the way that they want to, or do they want to be a little more adventurous and try something like proportional representation? I've seen ranked choice, but I've seen all these things. I have no preference. The organization doesn't really take a stand on it one way or the other. I will wait until that debate comes to jump into the foray. Okay. Let's see. Let's take this question. Donnie. Hey, Donnie. I got to see Donnie when I spoke in Beaumont at the True Texas Project meeting, which, by the way, tomorrow night I will be in Tomball, Texas. I'll be speaking at a meeting of the True Texas Project. You can find out all the details at tnm.me/events. That is tnm.me/events, and go there. If you were in the area, come on out. Would love to see you. All right. So Donnie says, I heard Phelan in Beaumont say he would be for a vote, but was personally against it. But that was years ago. You are right. As a matter of fact, there is a video floating around that I happen to post on the TNM's social media network, and I think the original is even on our YouTube channel. Let's see. Boom shakalaka. There we go. Let me see if I can get that loaded in the deck. I'll get it played for you. But yeah, so to give some context, so Phelan, before he was Speaker of the House, after the 2016 convention, Republican convention, where there was a big floor fight over adding TEXIT to the plank as a plank on the platform, Phelan was actually asked about it at a meeting of the Southeast Texas Tea Party about his stance on the issue. And it was, Jeff Sadeghi, you guys know Jeff, who was I think he was the head of the Southeast Texas Tea Party for a long time, been in national leadership in the TNM, just an all around fantastic guy. Jeff just flat asked him when he was there doing a town hall, hey, this is what happened at the convention. You were there. You saw it. What are you going to do? Now, remember, this was before Phelan was Speaker of the House, right? So when he could file bills and things of that nature. And that said, well, I tell you what, I got it loaded in the deck. Let's just play it.
You mentioned it before we started. If you were at the convention on Friday the 13th, you saw half the delegates stand up for Texas independence if the federal government didn't behave. So if you look at the RPT platform, over half the issues that we have in Texas would be solved by that one act. So will you file a bill for TEXIT?
I will not. Let me tell you, first of all, I commend you on your efforts. The people are talking about it, and it's not question if it's a good idea or not, it's whether or not they can actually do it. Texas can do it. It's not how I want to handle the issue, but I don't disparage anyone if that's the way they do want to handle it. I believe in I will tell you this right now. Like any issue that my voters in Southeast Texas are for, if I hear from my voters back home that they don't want me to vote in favor of that ballot, if my voters want to have their voice heard, then I would support it. And that's the same with Texas. It's the same with gambling. It's the same with any issue that I think that I shouldn't stand in the way of y'all having a voice on the major issues. I think leaving.
Okay. So yeah, there was the video. So that's the context, and I think it's quite interesting. I think it is something. I mean, look, Data's my state rep, right? I'm in his district now, just barely at this point after redistricting. But yeah, I'm in Dade's district, and you can rest assured he's going to hear directly from me, not just as president of the TNM, but as his constituent. It's just part of the process. So you don't know until you know. So Dade, I mean, as Speaker of the House, he couldn't file the bill anyway, and now it's going to be an interesting dynamic because Have you ever had one of those days, my friends? Have you? Have you? I'm just curious. Anyway, hello, I'm back. Yeah, that was that little technical glitch that I had earlier that came back, and it came back with a vengeance. But now I will not have it any longer because I have squashed it, just like I do Texan opposers and their lame arguments. I squashed it. It's done. Squashed. No moss. But by the way, if you have not already commented with the hashtag TEXIT, do so. I want to enter you in this drawing. I'm going to give you some free things. I might even throw in something extra to sweeten the pot because I hate technical difficulties and I hate you have to suffer them. So where I was talking about Dade as the Speaker of the House. And I played the video, and you know, it's why you got to reach out to these people, right? All right, let's get down to it. Ashton, hang on. Hold up. Wait a minute. So let me tell you a little short story really quickly. This next one is from someone that I got to meet at a candidate event when I was running for lieutenant governor at the Alamo Heights Republican Women. Ashton Murray. He says, TEXIT, let's get TEXIT on the ballot. Ashton ran for state senate. He was a candidate for state senate. Just an amazing guy. And if you get an opportunity to meet him, take it, right? But yeah, Ashton, absolutely. Let's get it on the ballot. That should be our rallying cry right now. Get it on the ballot. Let us vote. What's wrong with us voting? If Pennsylvania can elect John Fetterman, then, you know, we should at least get the vote. I mean, the fact that guy was on a ballot anywhere is crazy, right? And they call us the ones that are nuts. I mean, you know, we're not the ones that look like somebody ordered Stone Cold Steve Austin off of wish.com, right? Unbelievable, right? Give us the vote. It's not hard. It's not a difficult concept. Article 1, Section 2. It's an inalienable right. Okay, Beverly Alford wants to know, what's the book? I'm guessing you're talking about the book that I was talking about from the professor earlier, Matt Quiltrip. Hang on. I will show you. Here it is. The book is called something that needs to be on the screen. Oh, there it is. The book is called I Want to Break Free, a practical guide to making a new country, right? It's published out of Manchester University Press, and that's the website where you can order it. The paperback is not available yet. I don't know that it's going to be in hardback, but it dropped early on Kindle. So I pre-ordered it, got the book, and just absolutely, I'm pretty much done. Like, it dropped. I started reading it today in the breaks, and I've just been absolutely consumed with it. So it's a phenomenal book. And yes, that is a Queen song. It's pretty funny. He's made some Queen puns, I think, on his Twitter page. But look, his CV is absolutely incredible, right? He's got the people that he's consulted with, it's phenomenal. He's the one. So if you've heard me talk about in speeches the number of independence referenda since, say, 1980 or whenever it was, or I think the stat that we do is we talk about the last 100 years, right, of independence referenda, sort of our Western style democratic governments, republics, representative governments, whatever you want to call it. And I think at last tally there had been 54 of the style that we're going after. 50 of them made it through on the first ballot. 4 failed. Of those 4, 2 went back within 10 years and they passed. So the odds are definitely on our side. If you get it on a ballot, it's probably going to win. And if you don't on the first bite, you'll probably do it on the second bite. So there we go. Oh yeah, and I just saw in chat while I was looking around somebody mentioning O'Rourke, right? 3 times and he's out. I know I talked about it earlier. But some of the other footage that I captured, and oddly enough, I've been kind of getting dragged for this, is I made a suggestion to all these people whose candidate didn't win. And I'm not just talking about Beto, right? I'm talking about any of them. Your candidate didn't win, and all of a sudden now you hate Texas, right? Well, that tells me you probably didn't love it too much to begin with, right? I can tell you, I've been on the losing side of plenty of elections, right? Even personally, like where I was on the ballot, and it's never caused me to hate my home. It's never caused me to want to take Texas and throw it in the trash, right? But yet, some of these people up in arms, and my suggestion to them was to do this. Yeah, because Pennsylvania calls, right? Go that way. You can go with the generic version of Stone Cold Steve Austin, or not Green Shrek, whatever you prefer. But I'm gonna stay here. This is my home. This is Texas, and I'm gonna stay here. And I'm gonna, like the legend says, Crockett. I'm gonna go down swinging. Right? Well, somebody's gonna win and somebody's gonna lose. And I don't count it's a loss, but let me tell you something. If I'm ever going to be on the losing side of this thing, you're not going to catch me surrendering or curling up in a ball and sucking my thumb or doing this other stuff. I want to win, and I'm going to fight like that until I can't fight no more. That was the pledge I made August 24th, 1996, and I think that's the pledge that many of you have made as well. All right. Well, notwithstanding my little technical difficulties over here, I am looking to see if we have any more questions. Okay, so here's one. Rosso, Texas says, do you think Texas should have a strong military presence in the border region, and should volunteering be mandatory or voluntary? Well, volunteering, it's baked in the word. It's voluntary, right? So we'll just that's already taken care of. But do I think that Texas needs a strong military presence in the border region? Absolutely. Right now they do. And I'm not talking about in the border region. I'm talking about bellied up to the border, ready to do battle with those foreign narco terrorists, the cartels, if they shoot at us. To establish a very strong, secure southern border, we're going to need a strong military presence. It's one of the reasons that why for a very long time we have advocated the full militarization of the Texas State Guard, because they cannot be federalized, and their deployment as a border protection force. We need a proper military here, and we need a properly equipped military, and we need one that cannot be recalled at the stroke of a pen by President Puddin' Pop. So, or frankly anyone. We need a strong military. And the way that our military needs to operate is one to protect our homeland. And there is no greater security threat to Texas right now than the southern border, period. Well, probably a close second would be that, front companies for the Chinese PLA are buying up property near strategic locations in Texas. But that's a whole other conversation, isn't it? Conversation that needs to be had. But, the good news about all this is, if you want to solve these problems, you have a way to do that. And it's called TEXIT, because self-governing independent nations get to take care of their national security policy without interference from the outside. Nobody vetoing us or some unaccountable, unelected federal judge telling us, you can't do that. It's not the way it works. Okay. Hey, here's somebody sounding off. Neil says, TEXIT. Love it. Letting y'all know I saw some TEXIT now signs at the polling place. It was great to see. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thanks to all the volunteers that deployed TEXIT now signs out at the polling locations. It was, I know some of those opposers, it was giving them indigestion. They were having some serious heartburn over that, because we heard some vandalism stories which was kind of fun, right? The fact that they feel so threatened that they got to tear for something that's not even on the ballot. They're going cuckoo choo and they're trying to knock our signs down. I mean, how desperate, how pathetic, right? So you can't win on the merits of your argument. You can't even win on the emotional argument, right? Because there is no emotional argument. These people would rather watch their kids and your kids starve in poverty in a neo-communist, neo-Marxist super state run by President Puddin' Pop and those corrupt criminals in Washington, D.C., than have responsibility for their own destiny, right? So, I mean, they're cuckoo to begin with, right? So they can't argue on the merits. You know, there's no rationale, no reasoning. There's no emotional argument they can make. So what are they going to do? I'm going to tear down your sign because I don't like what it says. Unbelievable. But what does that tell you? It tells you that we're winning. All right. Hey, Neil, thanks for sharing that. All right. So let's do this before I do the wrap up. We're going to do this first drawing. I've actually never done this on here before. So we're going to give it a whirl. How does that sound? Okay. So I'm going to give you the next 10 seconds. Comment with the hashtag TEXIT if you have not done it already. And then we are going to let it roll. All right. So here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. I think everybody's in. So here we go, folks. We're going to make a draw. All right. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? It better not be me, because that would be hilarious. There we go. Congratulations, Carl Gleim. You have won this pack. Thank you so much. All right, Carl. So what you need to do, drop us an email at coffeetalk@vtnm.org, coffeetalk@vtnm.org with your information. I'm pretty sure we probably have it, but if we don't, go ahead and send it over to us, and we will get your gifts out to you. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Thank you, Carl. All right. That was fun. That was really fun. Kind of enjoyed that. All right. I think we'll do that again. It's time to wrap this bad boy up. My technical difficulties are not yours. You should not have to endure any longer than you have to. So what I'm going to encourage you to do, if you were not already a member of the Texas Nationalist movement, head over to tnm.me/join. That is tnm.me/join. And of course, look, if you have not become a volunteer, I think we pretty well have established how important it is, how crucial volunteers are to getting the job done. Head over to tnm.me/volunteer and volunteer today. And of course, if you're ready to get plugged in your local area, head over to tnm.me/local groups. You can find links to all of these things if you go to tnm.me, our website. And of course, if you have any questions about TEXIT and Texas independence, you can head over to texitnow.org. That said, my friends, it is time to say goodnight. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. Sans the technical difficulties, I will not see you. Well, actually, I will see you next week, right? But Tuesday night, I will be a guest on Timcast with Tim Pool. That's Tuesday night. So we're going to have big news hit on Monday. Tuesday, yours truly will be elsewhere, and Wednesday, Tuesday's Timcast, right? And then Wednesday, I should be back to do Coffee Talk, and then the weekend it's going to be Abilene. Just check the calendar of events, folks. You'll see. You can follow me around. In the meantime, I will leave you with the words that I leave you with every week, the words of Sam Houston, when he said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now, and the question is, will you stand with her? Good night, everyone.
At the polls, there's no good choice, and the best is a lesser evil. Just who? It is time for a real change. Instead of voting more of the same, only one solution restores the power to you. When Texan rights have been impaired, and it's gone on for many years, there's only one way left to correct it. You know the Texans are the best to decide the future of Texas, so pledge your vote today for Texas. July the 4th, we celebrate an exit of the United States from a British Empire that denied them representation. Yeah, and history repeats, they say. Britain's past became their fate when a Brexit vote restored Britain's status as a nation. When the Constitution is ignored, state sovereignty thrown overboard, and all attempts to restore it have been rejected. You know the Texans are the best to decide the future of Texas, so pledge your vote today for Texas. So high, no limits seem to apply. Is this the future we want for our Lone Star? What if tax dollars stayed in our state and Texans had the final say? Well, that's a future I'd be happy to vote for. You see corruption in D.C. or want a real tax decrease? There's only one solution left, you guessed it. You know the Texans are the best to decide the future of Texas, so pledge your vote today for Texas. Texas foreign policy? Are you tired of a government that acts so reckless? You know the Texans are the best to decide the future of Texas, so pledge your vote today for Texas. Do you love this Lone Star state? Have countless reasons why it's great. Perhaps you believe that God blessed it. You know the Texans are the best to decide the future of Texas. Don't pledge your vote today for Texas. Sign up at TexitNow.com.